I am the director of the Division of Energy Efficiency, which is part of the Energy and Environment Secretariat. I'm here on behalf of Secretary Ian Bowles, who unfortunately had an unavoidable conflict come up, and he is very sorry that he couldn't be here, and I will do my best impersonation. What I was asked to talk about is energy from the state perspective, and I know you've spent some time today going deeply into a few of the particulars. I want to try to pull back and give you the best sense I can in 28 minutes or less of where we see things from Beacon Hill. And I want to move through, I want to cover a lot of ground fairly quickly so that if we have a couple minutes at the end, we can do a few questions and answers. Let's see, where's my button here? So let me tell you a little bit about the Department of Energy Resources. Our mission is to achieve all cost-effective energy efficiency, to promote a shift to greener energy resources, to ensure reliable and adequate supplies of energy, and also to support the development of the clean energy sector in the Commonwealth. We also, as part of the Green Communities Act, established a new division called the Green Communities Division, which I'll talk about a little bit later, that is focused directly on working with cities and towns to help them solve their energy challenges. I was reflecting on Al's remarks there, and really our mission is to try to make sure that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts as far as the Commonwealth's energy policy is concerned. Quite frankly, we are changing so many of the parts right now that it's difficult to keep an eye on the whole. And it's very good for me to be able to come out to events like this and hear from you about how you think we're doing. So I look forward to a conversation now or after, and you'll have my contact info. So I welcome sort of follow-up remarks. I also want to thank you for spending your morning, and I'm sure for many of you, many of your waking hours every day focusing on energy. You are the people who know that, from firsthand experience, that there is a lot at stake for Massachusetts, for our environment, for public health, for our economy. And we are at a tipping point right now, or a number of tipping points. And it's through partnership with people like you and institutions like yours that we are going to be able to really establish the Commonwealth as a model of smart, sound energy policy that we hope will be replicated in states across the land and ultimately in sound federal policy. Let me go through a couple of the fundamentals. I think you probably all know this stuff fairly well. One of the main circumstances that we face here in the Commonwealth is high energy prices, and there are a number of reasons. One of the core reasons is that we're at the end of the pipeline for a whole lot of, well, for every fossil fuel, and we have no conventional energy supplies of our own here in the region. So what that means is we have fairly high prices relative to the rest of the states. That's Massachusetts, the orange bar on the left. Only Hawaii, Connecticut, New York in 2007 had higher retail electricity costs. One of the other circumstances that I think you are probably well aware of is that we have basically unknowable future prices. This is a chart showing U.S. energy information, that's Department of Energy, forecasts of natural gas prices, future gas prices from various points over the last couple of decades. And you can see that the forecasts are all over the map, and the black dotted line, or the black line with the diamonds, is the actual natural gas price, also all over the map. So it's pretty clear to us anyway that it is very difficult to know what the future holds in terms of energy prices. I think in large part because of a steady commitment here in the Commonwealth to making the right energy choices over the last couple of decades, we are actually fairly well positioned, we think, for the 21st century clean energy economy. This is a chart showing energy use per capita on a state-by-state basis. We view it as good news that people across the Commonwealth are very wise in their energy use. No fewer TVs per household here, at least with any significant variation from state to state, but we are very wise in how we use energy. Perhaps even more interesting, we are very productive in terms of our use of energy. We get more gross state product per unit of energy input than just about every state across the country. And we're actually moving up in the rankings in recent years. We're third, fourth, fifth, sixth, depending on the year in the last couple of years. And proud to say, well above the national average and even a little bit above the famous state of California. They get a lot of credit, and most of it is due for their forward-thinking energy policies, but you all should know and be proud and make sure that other people know that on a lot of the key indicators, Massachusetts is actually outperforming California in terms of clean energy. So from our perspective, as I said, we have a very solid foundation to build on as we move toward the greener energy future that we are trying to build. So that's a little bit about the circumstances. I want to talk a little bit about the recent policy changes and give you the update from Boston. And I'll also talk a little bit about stimulus opportunities as best I can and then wrap up. So what is the update? I used to do the survey every time I spoke. I haven't done it in a while. I'm curious, who's heard of the Green Communities Act? Okay, a good chunk of the people. The Green Communities Act was one of a suite of significant, in our view, transformative changes adopted through a partnership between the Patrick administration and the legislature in 2008, 5 or 6 significant reform bills, the Green Communities Act, Green Jobs Act, the Global Warming Solutions Act, Clean Energy Biofuels Act, and a number of other significant policy updates put in place, again, in working very closely with our partners in the legislature. Most of them passed during 2008. I think all of the ones on this list, actually. And DOER is one of the agencies at the Secretariat that is now charged with implementing all of those new pieces of legislation. And again, I'd be interested in your feedback, but our sense is we are making great progress. Nearly every piece of the Green Communities Act has been implemented on time and under budget and on the right schedule. The Act makes major changes to just about every aspect of our energy, our markets and infrastructure. I'll get into a little bit more detail about some of the highlights of the Act, but I want to sort of first do a survey of some of the other changes that are underway right now. In addition to those legislative changes the Patrick administration put in place, quite a few changes of our own that we're proud of and that we are pursuing right now in Massachusetts. Each one of these really deserves its own half hour, so I'm not going to be able to do any one of them justice, but I can certainly point you to to more information on our website and put you in touch with any of our staff who can help answer more detailed questions on these. One of the things that we are most proud of is our commitment to leading by example. One of his first acts in office was, one of the governor's first acts in office was signing an executive order 484, that committed the Commonwealth to lead by example in terms of energy use, climate changing emissions, and other sort of sustainability metrics, waste and water and so on. And they are, the order establishes very aggressive goals, meeting 10 to 20% energy and greenhouse gas reductions, and in some cases by as soon as 2010, 11, and 12. And so we are putting in place a broad range of initiatives across state government in partnership with DCAM and the colleges and universities and just about every other branch of state government to make sure that we are leading by example, and we've seen significant success so far. We've seen great leadership from colleges and universities and from DCAM, the Department of Capital Asset Management, and from really every branch of state government. Wind turbines going up, solar panels being installed, building owners and operators working with ESCOs to figure out how to make their buildings much more energy efficient. And we actually have a draft report that will probably be out soon reporting on our progress to date. Long ways to go still, but we are proud of the progress that we've made to date.